Welcome to module 3 of chapter 3. In this module, we are going to state and prove Euler's theorem, which is generalization of Fermat's Little theorem. We are also going to show various applications of this Euler's theorem. Then we will going to introduce Dirichlet convolution product, and we will show that Dirichlet convolution product is commutative, associative, and etc. And we will also show various properties of this convolution product, and also we are going to give and state and prove Mobius inversion formula. In this module, we are going to discuss Euler's theorem and Dirichlet product. The objectives of this module are generalization of Fermat's Little theorem by Euler, definition and properties of Dirichlet's convolution product, and Mobius inversion formula. So, first we will state what is Euler's theorem. Fix a positive integer m and a is any integer relatively prime to m, then a power phi of m is equal to 1 modulo m. So, in the Fermat's Little theorem we have that a power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod p. Since whenever m is a prime number, then phi of m is nothing but p minus 1. So, we are going to get Fermat's Little theorem from this theorem. So, this is clearly a generalization of Fermat's Little theorem. So, before going to give the proof of this theorem, we will see an example. Since GCD of 59, 100 is equal to 1, hence from that theorem, if the assume Euler's theorem is true, then we have 59 power phi of 100, phi of 100 is 40. So, 59 power 40 is congruent to 1 mod 100, or equivalently this is saying that 59 power 40 going to give a remainder 1 if you divide that 59 power 40 by 100. So, it becomes very advantage, means it is very difficult to evaluate 59 power 40 and again dividing by 100. Now, it directly we are getting the answer by Euler's theorem very short way, that 59 power 40 is congruent to just 1 mod 100. So, now we will look at the proof of Euler's theorem. Let a1, a2 and so on a phi of m be positive integers less than m and that are relatively prime to m. We claim that the set a into a1 mod m, a2 mod m and so on a into a phi of m mod m, where a is already given in the hypothesis, a is an integer relatively prime to m. So, what we done, we multiplied a1, a2, a phi of m with a and we call that as a set S, and t is a1, a2, a phi of m. Now, we will show that these two sets are same under modulo m. So, since as GCD of a comma m equal to 1 and also GCD of a comma m equal to 1 from the hypothesis, hence from one of the previous result we have that GCD of a into ai comma m is also equal to 1. So, hence a into a is equal to ak for some k, since the only integers which are relatively prime to m from 1 to m are a1, a2, a phi of m. So, moreover GCD of a comma m equal to 1 implies that a into ai is equal congruent to aij mod m if and only if a is congruent to aj mod m. It is because a into ai is congruent to a into aj mod m means that m divides a times a minus aj, but m comma a GCD 1 means that m has to divide a minus aj. So, that is why we are going to get a is congruent to aj mod m. Thus, we see that for each element in S is distinct and correspond to some element of T. Also, the number of elements in two sets are same, hence we have S is equal to T. Thus, A1 their product A1 into A2 into and so on A phi m is equal to is congruent to A into A1, A into A2 and so on A into A phi of m modulo m. So, here that is also equal to a power phi of m into a1, a2 and so on a phi of m modulo m. Thus, we have a power phi of m is congruent to 1 mod m. It is because GCD of a1 into a2 and so on, a phi of m comma m is also 1. So, we have this result. So, proof is very easy. So, few applications of Euler's theorem. This gives an explicit formula for the inverse of a modulo m. If a is relatively prime to m, that is GCD of a comma m equal to 1, then we can find a inverse. It is because a power phi of m is congruent to 1 mod m. So, a into a power phi m minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod m. So, a inverse is nothing but a power phi of m minus 1 under modulo m. So, we are able to compute a inverse also, and whenever p is prime, we have phi of p equal to p minus 1. Thus, Fermat's-Little theorem can be seen as a corollary to Euler's theorem. Let n is equal to n1, n2 and so on nk, where GCD of ni comma nj equal to 1 for all I not equal to j. Now, by choosing capital Ni is equal to ni by small ni and y is equal to a1 into n1 power phi of n1 plus a2 into n2 power phi of n2 and so on plus ak into nk power phi of nk, we will see that ni is congruent to 0 mod nj whenever I not equal to j, and y is congruent to ai ni power phi of ni mod ni. So, and also we have ni power phi of ni is congruent to 1 mod ni. Consequently, y is a solution to the system of linear equations. X is congruent to a mod ni for 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to k. This gives the alternative proof for Chinese remainder theorem. Earlier we proved Chinese remainder theorem, but now by Euler's theorem also we proved the Chinese remainder theorem. So, one more interesting application of this Euler's theorem is n is an odd integer with 5 does not divide n, then n divides an integer all of whose digits are equal to 1. Here look at n is odd given and 5 also does not divide n. So, 10 does not divide n in particular. So, since n is odd, 5 does not divide n. So, GCD of n comma 10 is equal to 1, or equivalently GCD of 9n comma 10 is also 1. So, now 9n, if I consider 9n as m and 10 as a, then by Euler's theorem we have that a power phi of m is congruent to 1 mod m. So, that is 10 power phi of 9n is congruent to 1 mod 9n, or equivalently there exists an integer k belongs to Z such that k into n is equal to 10 power phi of 9n minus 1 by 9, an integer all whose digits are equal to 1. So, hence we got the result, that means n divides that number, integer all whose digits are equal to 1. So, now we will see an alternative proof for Euler's theorem. Now, we look for an alternative proof for Euler's theorem, but this proof uses Fermat's-Little theorem and phi is multiplicative. So, this is proof by induction. So, we prove first result for n equal to p power k, where p is a prime number. That is, we will show that a power phi of p power k is congruent to 1 mod p power k, where GCD of a comma p equal to 1 and k belongs to natural numbers. By Fermat's-Little theorem, the result is true for k equal to 1, that is exactly the Fermat's-Little theorem. Assume that phi of p power k is congruent to 1 mod p power k is true for k equal to m, that is a power phi of p power m is equal to t plus p power m plus 1 for some t belongs to Z. Now, we have to show the result for k equal to m plus 1. So, consider a power phi of p power m plus 1, which is equal to a power p of m plus 1 into 1 minus 1 by p, that is the definition of phi of p power m plus 1. So, that is equal to a power p into p power m into 1 minus 1 by p. So, this is also equal to a power p into phi of p power m. So, but we just now we assumed that a power phi of p power m is equal to t into p power m plus 1. So, we got this part. So, thus a power phi of p power m plus 1 is equal to 1 plus p choose 1 t into p power m power 1, p choose 2 t into p power 2 and so on t into p power m power p. Since p divides p choose I for all I 1, 2, 3 up to p minus 1, since p is a prime, this is an interesting property of primes. Hence, we have that a power phi of p power m plus 1 is congruent to 1 mod p power m plus 1. Now, if you take n is equal to p1 power r1, p2 power r2 and so on pk power rk, then we know that phi is multiplicative. So, phi of n is equal to phi of p1 power r1, p2 power r2 and so on, phi of p power pk r power k. Hence, a of phi n is congruent to 1 mod pi power ri holds for all I whenever a comma n equal to 1. So, or equivalently pi power ri divides a power phi of n minus 1. Finally, n divides a power phi of n minus 1 as GCD of pi power ri comma p2 power r2 and so on pk power rk is 1. So, as they are mutually relatively prime, hence we got the required proof. So, this is an alternative proof for Euler phi function. As we observed, many results which we proved earlier like Fermat's little theorem, Chinese remainder theorem can be deduced very easily by using Euler's formula or Euler's theorem. Now, we are going to give lot of properties of Dirichlet convolution product and also we will going to state and prove Mobius inversion formula. Now, Dirichlet product, it is a binary operation between the arithmetic functions. Let f and g be two arithmetic functions, then Dirichlet product or convolution product is denoted as f star g is an arithmetic function defined as f star g of n is equal to summation d divides n f of d into g of n by d. For example, f star g of 10 is equal to f of 1 into g of 10 plus f of 2 into g of 5 plus f of 5 into g of 2 plus f of 10 into g of 1. Here we are sum over the divisors of 10. So, the divisors are 1, 2, 5 and 10. So, we taken the divisors of 10. So, there are 4 terms in this summation. So, remarks, since d divides n, if and only if n by d divides n, so f star g of n which is equal to summation d divides n f of n by d into g of d, or equivalently we can put E is equal to n by d, we have f star g of n is equal to summation E d equal to n f of d into g of E. So, now we will see few properties of these Dirichlet products. Let f and g and h are arithmetic functions, then f star g is equal to g star f. That is, we already saw with an example also you can understand this. This says that Dirichlet convolution product is commutative, f star g equal to g star f. Another one is f star g star h is equal to f star g star h. That means, this convolution product satisfies associative property as well. And f star of I is equal to f. That means, with respect to convolution product, the identity is I. Recall I is defined as I of n is equal to 1 if n is equal to 0, otherwise it is 0. So, I is a multiplicative identity. Here multiplication means that Dirichlet multiplication, Dirichlet convolution product. And another interesting result is f star u. Again recall u of n is equal to 1 for all n. So, f star u is equal to simply df, divisor sum function, and this is one of the very interesting result. U star mu is equal to I. Here this involves three functions: u, that is u of n is equal to 1 for all n, and Mobius function, then I, and f is equal to df, divisor sum function df star mu. Okay. Thus, parts 4 and 5 implies that for any two arithmetic functions f and g, f star u is equal to g if and only if f is equal to g star mu. This is called Mobius inversion formula. So, we will prove all these parts one by one. F star g of n is equal to, by definition, that is E d equal to n summation f of d into g of e. So, that is also equal to g of e into f of d. So, I can E d equal to n means that d into e is also equal to n. So, we have g of d into f of e. So, this is nothing but g star f of n. So, this is true for all n. So, f star g equal to g star f. Now, we are going to show this convolution product satisfies associative property. So, here one can see the proof is straightforward. So, what we have to do is f star g star h is equal to a into b equal to n, f star g of a into h of b. So, then again for n we will write it as a b equal to n as well as d e is equal to a. So, first a value is written as d into e. So, f star g of a now can be written as f of d into g of e into h of b. So, we multiplied all the three. So, a is replaced by d e. So, we have that d into e into b is equal to n, f of d into g of e into h of b. So, by rewriting it, we are going to get the required result, that is this is also equal to f star of g star h of n. So, this is true again for all n. So, that is why f star g star h is equal to f star g star h. So, convolution product satisfies associative property as well. Now, the part 3, we know that I of n is equal to 1 whenever n equal to 1, 0 otherwise. Hence, f star I of n is defined is equal to summation d divides n f of d into I of n by d. So, that is f of n into 1 plus summation d divides n d less than n f of d into 0. So, this is clearly equal to f of n. Now, look at the proof of part 4. Since mu of n is equal to 1 for all n, we have f star mu of n is equal to summation d divides n f of d into mu of n by d, that is equal to summation d divides n f of d, that is same as the divisor sum function definition. So, now we are going to prove the proof of part 5, which is directly follows from previous result, that summation d divides n mu of d is equal to I of n. We proved this earlier. So, it is direct. So, proof of part 6, now using part 3, 4 and 5, we can see that f is equal to f star I, but I is nothing but mu star u star mu. So, this is f of f star u star mu. So, df star mu. Now, we look for existence of inverse of an arithmetic function. As we recall that we already proved that convolution product satisfies commutative property, associative property. So, it is nice if which functions, arithmetic functions have inverse also. This lemma says that every arithmetic function need not have inverse. Inverse here with respect to convolution, Dirichlet convolution product. Only if arithmetic function for which f of 1 is not equal to 0, then it has an inverse. That is, the inverse is given as g. So, f star g equal to I. Recall that I is a multiplicative identity with respect to Dirichlet convolution product. So, g is inverse of f means f star g should be equal to I. So, the lemma says that let f be an arithmetic function with f of 1 is not equal to 0, then there exists an arithmetic function g such that f star g equal to I. Moreover, the g is given by g of one value is simply 1 by f of 1. So, from f of 1 I can get g of one value, and other values can be get recursively. G of n is equal to minus 1 by f of 1 summation d divides n d less than n into g of d f of n by d. So, we will give the proof of this one, that is leave it as an exercise, that can be proved easily. So, now we will see some characterization of completely multiplicative functions. Before stating next result, note that we are going to define another multiplication among the arithmetic function, that is called component wise multiplication. That is, f and g are two arithmetic functions, then component wise multiplication is denoted by f g, is defined as f g of n is equal to f of n into g of n for all n belongs to n. So, theorem statement is, let f be a multiplicative function, then f is completely multiplicative if and only if f inverse is equal to mu into f, mu is a Mobius function. So, this theorem says that when f becomes a completely multiplicative, whenever it is given that f is a multiplicative function. So, the proof goes like this. First we suppose that f is completely multiplicative, then we have to show that f inverse is equal to mu into f. So, for that just we will consider that f star mu f, since we need to show that mu f is inverse of f. So, that is why we taken f star mu f. So, f star mu f of n is equal to summation d divides n f of n by d into mu of d into f of d. So, this is I can take, since f is completely multiplicative. So, f of n by d into f of d I can write it as f of n. So, f of n I can bring outside, summation d divides n mu of d. So, this is equal to f of n into summation d divides n mu of d into u of n by d. Since u of n by d, u is always takes 1. So, there is not a problem. So, this is f of n into, that is simply the convolution product of mu and u. So, that but mu and u convolution is nothing but I only. So, we have f of n into I of n, and which is simply equal to I of n. It is because I of n is equal to 0 whenever n is not equal to 1. So, we have the result. Now, we need to prove the converse part, that is, if you assume that f inverse is equal to mu f, then we have to show that f is completely multiplicative. Since f is multiplicative, that is given to us. So, it is sufficient to show that f of p power k equal to f of p power k. So, for all primes p and for all positive integers k. Suppose p is an arbitrary prime number, then we show that f of p power k is equal to f of p power k for all k belongs to n by induction. So, the result is clearly true for k equal to 1 k. Suppose that f of p power t is equal to f of p power t for all 2 less than or equal to t less than k. Since f inverse is equal to mu f is, we are already assuming, we have that 0 is equal to I of p power k, which is equal to f star mu f of p power k. So, if you expand it, f of p power k plus f inverse of p into f of p power k minus 1 as mu of p power b equal to 0 whenever b is greater than or equal to 2, but f inverse of p is equal to minus f of p, that can be seen easily since f is multiplicative. So, hence we have that 0 is equal to f of p power k minus f of p into f of p power k minus 1, hence we have f of p power k equal to f of p power k. So, we proved this part. So, another interesting thing is f is completely multiplicative if and only if f inverse of p power k equal to 0 for all primes p and all k greater than or equal to 2. So, this can be derived very easily from previous result. So, we will state it as a corollary. So, f is a multiplicative function, f is completely multiplicative if and only if f inverse of p power k equal to 0 for all primes p and all k greater than or equal to 2. Another corollary is that f is a multiplicative function, then f is completely multiplicative if and only if f of g star h is equal to f g star f h for all arithmetic functions g and h. So, proof goes like this. Suppose f is completely multiplicative, consider f of g star h of n. We have to show that f into g star h equal to f g star f h. So, that is why we considered f into g star h of n. So, which is equal to f of n into g star h of n. So, that is by component wise multiplication, which is equal to f of n into now g star h of n by convolution product, that is summation d divides n g of d into h of n by d. So, that is summation d divides n f of d into g of d into f of n by d into h of n by d. So, that is clearly you can see that f g star f h of n. So, conversely suppose that f of f into g star h is equal to f g star f h for all arithmetic functions g and h. So, then we have to show that f is completely multiplicative, but this time it is easy. So, if you since it is true for all g and h, all arithmetic functions, if I take g equal to mu and h equal to mu, then it is easy to see that f of g star h equal to f of g f of h becomes I is equal to, it becomes easily because I is equal to f star mu f. So, and f star mu f equal to I, then previous result, that is f is completely multiplicative. Hence, we proved this result as well. Dirichlet convolution product and Mobius inversion formula are very powerful. Many results which earlier we proved on arithmetic functions can be proved very easily by using Mobius inversion formula. For example, we showed that tau function, Mobius function and sigma function are multiplicative. Now, those can be proved very easily by using Mobius inversion formula. We also saw a few important necessary and sufficient conditions for an multiplicative function to be completely multiplicative function. So, with this we end this module.